How y'all doing today? Looks like we're live. We're gonna be doing the live stream today. And 1 second here. Just gotta get my thing together here. Give me 1 second. We are all right. Now we're live. Thanks for all for being here. Appreciate it. Today's live stream, we're basically talking about the election. Since we're so close to the election, that's kind of what we're going to be talking about mostly is the election. So, the election. And if you like what I'm talking about, kind of stuff, if you wouldn't mind hit that subscribe button, I'd really appreciate it. But trying to get to that 6,000 subscribers before the end of the year. If you wouldn't mind helping me out, it'd be awesome. Give the video a thumbs up. You know the drill. But anyway, it's election time, and we're going to be talking about a lot about that stuff. That's mostly what today's video is for. Anyway, from Fox News, over 150,000 veterans and military family members recruit staff to 2 staff polling places for Election Day. Recruitment efforts from vets, the vote rose from 63,500. Sorry, the best words. I have to forgive me. I'm trying. Okay, let's start that over again. Recruitment efforts from the vet vote rose from 63,500 poll workers in 2022 to 163,000 in 2024. Veterans and military families are falling in by the thousands to staff polling places across the country, according to a veterans coalition. Vet the Vote coalition recently announced that after its recruitment efforts, 163,000 vets and family and military families will work on Election Day to help facilitate the vote. This number far exceeds the 63,500 veteran and military family members who were successfully recruited to work in polling places during the 2022 midterm elections when the campaign was first launched. According to the Election Assistance Commission, 917,694 poll workers worked during the 2016 election, and a majority of jurisdictions polled reported that it was very difficult or somewhat difficult to obtain a sufficient number of poll workers. Vet the Vote is a national nonpartisan nonprofit campaign to recruit veterans and military family members to be the next generation of poll workers, reads their mission statement. The coalition represents 43 advocacy groups and other organizations. It has recently partnered with sponsors like NASCAR, NFL, and the NBA. Our community makes for a good workforce to take on the nuts and bolts of running one of the more than 132,000 polling stations expected to be recording votes next Tuesday, said Ellen Gustafson, a Navy spouse and co-founder of the Vet the Vote organization, to military.com. According to Gustafson, the especially charged political environment going into next Tuesday has posed a challenge uniquely suited to veteran and military families. Yeah, we sure are hearing about threats. There are people questioning the integrity of our election, said Gustafson to military.com. And that includes questioning the integrity of the poll workers who do the work. I think we are comfortable with the idea that sometimes situations are challenging, and the first goal is to de-escalate. Most poll workers sign up for long days, with most starting out at 5:30 a.m. Over half of poll workers in 2016, according to the EAC, were age 60 and over. Election day is this Tuesday, November 5th. So it's kind of a good thing they're starting to recruit military and vets, because and they're they're doing it voluntarily because they need more people with all this threats and stuff that's kind of been going on, that's been like and the suspicions of like the fraud that's been going on and the election rigging and stuff like that. They're bringing in more poll workers. They're bringing in more military poll workers, more, not necessarily military, but military families. And, they're not like bringing in the National Guard. They're just, and that's good, because we want fair elections. Regardless who wins, we want it to be fair. We want whoever wins to actually win fairly. We don't want anything, from either side. Whoever you lean towards, we don't need any kind of malicious, we want it to be fair. We want that. And having more military families coming in to run the polling stations and all that, that's a good thing. That's what we want. Next one from the BBC. This one's a tad longer, so you'll have to bear with me a little bit on this one. But okay, Trump courts divided Arab American voters in must-win Michigan. So he's been out there in Michigan courting some of the Arab Americans, which are mostly, a lot of these kind of, I wouldn't say kind of people, but these, some of these minorities, the Arabs and stuff like that, they typically go the other side. So on a crisp, sunny day in the largest Arab majority city in the United States, dozens of people gathered outside the Great Commoner Cafe to catch a glimpse of Donald Trump. What we want is peace, Trump told a group of Arab American business leaders inside the Dearborn, Michigan restaurant days before the presidential election. But a crowd of pro and anti-Trump voters shouting at one another nearby, demonstrating how divided the Michigan community has become over choosing the best American president to handle the escalating Middle Eastern war. The Republicans' Friday visit to Dearborn, once a reliably Democrat area, marks the culmination of his efforts to court the 200,000 plus Arab Americans who live in must-win Michigan. It could sway a tied race between Trump and Kamala Harris. Hillary Clinton lost Michigan to Trump by only 10,000 votes in 2016, while Biden won it back by 150,000 votes in 2020. On billboards lining Michigan highways during the visit, the Trump campaign argues that the stands for peace in the Middle East were casting Harris as pro-Israel. That message has worked on some. Trump secured 2 endorsements from the mayor of Dearborn Heights and Hamtramck. I'm not good with names of cities and stuff, so you'll have to bear with me. A small Muslim majority city near Detroit, while Dearborn Mayor Abdullah Hammond said Friday he declined a meeting with the former president. The trend worries Abbas Alaway, one of the leaders of the Uncommitted Movement, a group of protesting U.S. support of Israel, who pledged to back Harris even though his group refused to endorse her. So they backed her but wouldn't endorse her. Weird. I've been hearing a lot more of the feelings that this is binary choice. And some voters feel like maybe we should just vote for Donald Trump. He's saying he's pro-peace candidate. Mr. Holloway told the BBC at Hurrah's Cafe in Dearborn on Friday. The Harris campaign, meanwhile, said the vice president has been and it's supportive of the diverse Muslim community in the United States. The vice president is committed to work to earn every vote, unite our country, and to be a president for Americans, said Nasrina Bargzi. Again, not good with names. Campaign director of the Muslim and Arab American Outreach. She added that Harris would ensure the community can live free from the hateful policies of the Trump administration. Despite frustrations with the Biden Harris administration's handling of the war, several community leaders told the BBC they don't believe Donald Trump offers a solution either. We're not naive about what he means for our country, said Rexilando Nazarko. Again, not good with names. Executive director of the American Muslim Engagement and Empowerment Network at Michigan Muslim Advocacy Group. He cited Trump's Muslim ban, his 2017 executive order to ban travelers from predominantly Muslim nations. He did that because of the threat that was coming in from some of these terrorists and some of the, with the ISIS and with some of those other places. That's why and a lot of it was COVID as well. He banned a lot of those. So it wasn't like he just banned them because he doesn't like Muslims. That's not why he banned them. Still, Mr. Nazarko and other leaders said sending a message about their anger over Biden-Harris administration's pro-Israel policy is more important than who wins the White House. They have encouraged votes for third-party candidates or just sitting out the election altogether. That's the message Hassan Abdel Salam, a leader of the Abandon Harris campaign and former Democrat, delivered to a packed room gathered for prayer at the American Muslim Center in Dearborn Friday. Our intention is to show that we are punishing someone, a leader who, for a year, we protested and we gave ultimatums, warnings, he said. Our belief now, even despite having lived under Trump, a truly vile person, has been that we now see that there is no lesser evil. So they like Trump, but they're not liking Biden or Harris either. Muslim leaders and political experts acknowledge that the Harris campaign has decided to focus more on securing moderate voters and improving turnout in traditionally Democrat areas like Detroit rather than courting Muslim and Arab Americans. The campaign also is concerned about losing support from pro-Israel Jewish voters and other Democrats more likely to cast a ballot, said Sahid Khan, a Wayne State University professor. Mr. Khan said many voters who considered casting a ballot for a third-party candidate likely will end up voting for Harris to keep Trump out of office. It's a calculation while Al-Zayat, CEO of Muslim voter outreach group Engage, hopes Michigan voters engages hope Michigan voters in general will make. So they're thinking about voting for Harris just to keep Trump out of office. I think a lot of the case that's why they voted for Biden in 2020 was they didn't like Biden, but they only voted for him because they didn't want to vote for Trump. And that's not really a good thing to do. I mean, just don't vote for somebody just because you don't like the other guy. That's not cool. Well, I mean, pick your things and vote for what interests you the best. I mean, nobody's perfect. They're neither one of them are any good. I mean, it is what it is. They both have their flaws. They're both, you know. But anyway, a vote for a third party is a vote for Trump, which will bring about the worst outcome, he said. Trump is a brick wall. Mohammed Hassan, a member of the Hamtramck fully Muslim city council, said 80% of his 25,000 strong Bangladeshi Bangladesh Muslim community is voting for Harris while the rest could go for Trump. But he said all Muslims don't necessarily agree. Yemeni Muslims in the same city may go 50-50 between Trump and Harris, he said. The anger within the Arab Muslim community over Gaza is real, Mr. Hassan said. But unlike the Bangladeshi community, they do not vote in big numbers. So even if their vote doesn't go to Harris, it's unlikely to go to Trump. Many Arab Americans and Muslims crave a more balanced narrative about the war, including more empathy for the suffering of Gazans and Lebanese, Mr. Khan said. For Harris to talk about 100 some odd Israeli hostages and not mention 45,000 to 50,000 Gazans killed, to not consider that there was an impact on American citizens, families, and lives, that I think was seen as egregious, he said. Over 43,000 people have been killed in Gaza since Israel launched a campaign to destroy Hamas after the group's October 2023 attack, according to the Hamas-run health ministry. About 12,000 people were killed and 250 others were taken hostage in the attack. None of this makes the decision to support Harris easy, said Mr. Alawai, the uncommitted leader. Her campaign made a mistake by not budging on Israel, which also may cost her support from the Democrat young voters or voters of color, he said. It feels to me like the Harris campaign here in Michigan left a lot of votes on the table, Mr. Alaway said. I hope they're doing that as part of some calculation that she wins. I hope that after this election, we don't look back at her campaign and say, maybe we shouldn't have left those votes on the table. So it kind of sounds like they're still a little bit more leaning to the Harris campaign, but you know, he said they don't like Harris. They're not like going for Harris because they like Harris. They're going for Harris because they don't like Trump. And that's not, you know, like I said, that's not a good logic behind your vote. Just vote for the lesser of two evils, or vote for whoever's the best, or I don't like this guy, so I got to vote for that guy. That's not really a valid reason to vote for somebody, says me. You got to vote for who you think is the best, not vote for whoever's not the worst. There's a difference there. Anyway, again, appreciate y'all watching. I just hit that subscribe button for me. I'm trying my best and trying to get that 6,000 before the end of the year. Couple months to go. I'm about 400 subscribers behind, so I got a little ways to go. I'm not sure I'll get there, but that's kind of my goal for the end of the year. But anyway, I also wanted to. I am poor man preparedness, so I do things kind of on a budget, and I wanted to show you some of the equipment that I use, some of the gear that I have and that I use. And one of them is this rangefinder here. It's from Tidewee. Now, I'm not a sponsor by these guys. I don't sell them. I don't have a store that sells them, at least not yet. Maybe I might look into something like this, but it's like probably half the price of like a Vortex or like a Brownells or whatever. It's like half the price, and it works every bit as good. It does speed. It does, distance. This goes out to 1,000 meters, 1,000 yards, 1,000 meters. And it's got your little hash marks in there so you can see, and it's digital, has your distances in there and everything. But it's like half the price and probably every bit as quality as it. Again, I'm not a sponsor. I'm not sponsored by these. They're not paying me to do this, and nor do I have a store that sells them. But I am an Amazon affiliate link. I am an Amazon affiliate, and I'll leave a link to an Amazon so you can buy this on Amazon if you'd like. And that way you can get yourself a nice quality rangefinder when you go to the range and you're out shooting or you're out hunting or whatever. Tidewee, they sell a lot of hunting gear, and it's, like I said, it's about half the price of a Vortex or whatever. And your quality is really close, if not just as good. But I'll leave a link down below. It'll be an Amazon link. If you hit that link and buy one, you're not only getting a good quality rangefinder at a decent price, you also help me out with a few pennies, and that kind of helps us both out. I mean, you're not paying any more or any less, but you're also helping me out with a few pennies. So every little bit helps. I'll also leave some other links down below if you're interested, my socials and whatnots and all that, links to donate. If you feel like doing that. If not, just hit the subscribe button. Help me out. Every little bit helps. Appreciate y'all. And now, the next one is also an article from the BBC. And I've noticed the BBC, they seems like they try to stay a little both sides, but they do lean a little bit more Democrat. Like that last article was kind of leaning more towards vote for Harris, vote for Harris, vote for Harris. But they're, I'm trying to keep this as unbiased as possible. I mean, I know who I'm voting for. I know who you should vote for, but the main thing is vote. And like I said, vote for who you think's the best candidate. Vote for, pick your topics that you're most passionate about and vote for the candidate that best suits that. If you're into certain things and you think Harris is the best candidate, then vote for Harris. If you think that certain things would be better under Trump, then vote for Trump. Don't vote for Harris because you don't like Trump. Don't vote for Trump because you don't like Harris. Pick your topics and who's got the best chance of helping you with those. Like certain things. Like if you're into gun control, vote for Harris. If you're into pro-gun, vote for Trump. If you're into abortions, vote for Harris. If you're into whatever, then if you're into a good economy, vote for Trump. There's certain things. If there's certain things that you're passionate about, vote for your candidate. Don't, I'm not trying to tell you who to vote for. I know who I'm voting for, and I know who you should vote for, but that's just my opinion. You vote for who you think is the best. You don't have to do what I say. And anyway, next article is also from the BBC. October jobs report marred by effects of hurricanes and the Boeing strike. Employers add a paltry 12,000 jobs in October as Labor Department's October report was significantly distorted by hurricanes Helene and Milton, as well as the strike at Boeing. Economists had expected around 100,000 jobs would be added as the dislocations were factored in, but it appeared that was optimistic. Those hurricanes really tore a lot of places up, and they didn't really get a whole lot of support from the Biden-Harris campaign. They weren't really there to, they weren't really there for much at all. But also, the number of August and September's were revised downward by a combined 112,000 as the government adjusted prior results to account for seasonality. However, even after adjustment, September's numbers is still an increase of 223,000 jobs, and the monthly average of gains is still a healthy 194,000 jobs over the past year. The strike at Boeing, one of the nation's largest employers, accounted for 44,000 of the 46,000 job decline in a manufacturing employment in October. On the plus side, the healthcare and government sectors added 52,000 and 40,000 jobs, respectively. Hurricane Helene occurred prior to the collection of October data, but its long-lasting effects on the western North Carolina mountains have continued. Hurricane Milton did occur during the collection period, but the Labor Department said it was unable to quantify its effects on employment. It is likely that payroll employment estimates in some industries were affected by the hurricanes. However, it is not possible to quantify the net effect on the over the month change in national employment hours and earnings estimates because the establishment survey is not designed to isolate effects from extreme weather events, the release said. Economists had suggested before the report that it might be one to ignore given the combination of factors that would distort the numbers being reported. However, coming right before election and ahead of major Fed meeting, it is likely to be seized upon by analysis and political pundits. Yeah, they're going to use anything they can against anybody they can. That's how politics work. It's if there's something that they can use against you, against the other side, they're going to use it against the other side, regardless what side. Somehow this is, if they can find something to blame this on Trump, they're going to blame this on Trump. If there's some way they can blame this on Harris, they're going to blame this on Harris. That's how politics works. They use whatever they can use against their opponent. Let's see. The pace of job creation was skewed by the devastating effects of Hurricane Milton and Helene, then distorted further by obstacles represented by major employees' strikes where manufacturing took a hit, said Eric Roberts, CEO of Fiera Capital. The extent of both has yet to be fully reflected in the economy, with potential shock waves over the next few months. These events make it more difficult to obtain an accurate snapshot of the labor market data ahead of the election next week. Other economic reports this week and private hiring surveys have generally portrayed a strong economy heading towards year end. On Wednesday, private payroll firm ADP said employers had added 233,000 jobs in October, more than doubled expectations. Gains were broad-based acro SS industries, with only the manufacturing sector losing workers. I don't see the good economy. I mean, I don't know about y'all, but I don't see where it's a strong economy compared to how it's been in the past. I mean, I don't know. Again, not telling you who to vote for, where to vote, but under Trump, the economy was actually pretty good. I mean, according to me, my economy, my paycheck seemed to go a lot further when Trump was in office than when Biden was in office. That's just a sample size of one. Maybe it's just me, but the economy's hit me pretty hard. I can't even buy groceries anymore. It's so hard, and it's paying rent's tough. Going out and it's tough. My paychecks don't go as far. I'm making more money, but they don't go as far. That's the problem. It's under Trump, yeah, I wasn't making as much an hour, but my paychecks lasted longer. Everything wasn't costing so much. So where they get a strong economy from, I personally don't see that. It's horrible. And on Tuesday, the Labor Department said there were 7.4 million job openings at the end of September, down from 8 million a month earlier. Weekly unemployment claims, however, fell by 12,000 jobs to 116,000. I'm not a big fan of unemployment numbers, and the reason why I don't is because once you've been on unemployment so long, they cut you off of unemployment, and then they take you off the system. So you could still be unemployed, but you're just not counted as one of the numbers. So some of these people could have been unemployed for too long, and now they're off the system because they've collected their unemployment for too long, and it expired on them. So now they're off. They're still unemployed. They're just not on unemployment. So that's kind of where they get those numbers from. So so it's tough to get an accurate reading out of the unemployment data. So it's, again, not a big fan of the unemployment numbers that they get. Most hiring experts say the labor market has slowed somewhat, but still remains solid, with layoffs at a low pace and turnover modest. And most economic data, including a report on third quarter gross domestic product this week that showed the economy grew by 2.8% annual rate and has a Bengen, I don't know what that word is, but inflation reading has been positive. And I don't know, it doesn't seem that good to me. And inflation, yeah, the inflation's been slowing, but it's still going up. Inflation's still going up at a high rate, but it's just not going up as steep. Like, it's not going up this steep, it's going up this steep. So yeah, it's slowed down, but inflation's still climbing. That's where they get the inflation has slowed. So yeah, inflation has slowed down, but it's still going up. It's just not going up as steep. But Americans still say they are troubled by inflation and the overall state of the economy. There we go. See, I just said that. According to my economy, it's horrible. Yeah, Americans still are troubled by inflation and the state of the economy. Yeah, we're all troubled. I mean, I'm sure I speak for a lot more people than just me, but just my experience is the economy as a whole. It's pardon my French, but it's a hellhole. It sucks out there. You're out there trying to make every penny you can, and as soon as you make that penny, people are all right. Hand it over. You got money. We're going to give you this little teeny bit of food. Food bags are coming down in food and more in air, and it's and they're charging more for it. You're getting less stuff. You go buy a bag of chips, for instance. Instead of 3/4 of a bag that it used to get, you're getting a half a bag of chips. The bag stays the same. The amount goes down in it. They fill it up with air so it feels full, and then they still charge you more for that bag. It's tough. It's hard. Looking to the election next week, our outlook for the U.S. economy overall is stable, despite this month's slower than expected job report, said Stephen Rick, chief economist at TruStage. As many factors are progressing as intended, with inflation dropping and GDP remaining strong, The state of the economy is one of the most important topics for swing state voters. The job report is the last significant economic report before Tuesday's election, where the economy is expected to be a decisive factor in who Americans choose to be their next president. It also comes just a few days before the Federal Reserve meets to consider monetary policy. Economists expect the central bank to lower interest rates by 25 basis points after cutting them by 0.5% in September. So they're going to be cutting them another 0.25%. They're trying anything they can. And if the economy was so good, so strong, so stable like they said it is, why do they have to keep lowering the interest rates all the time? Usually it's lowering the interest rate is to help strengthen the economy. When you have a weak economy, they lower the interest rates. Pretty sure that's how it works. When it's strong, they can either keep them there or they can raise interest rates a little bit. It's a strong economy. We can bump up the interest rates a tad. When it's a weak economy, we got to lower those interest rates to help the economy, to help people spend their money, to help people be able to buy houses and to be, so they lower. So if it's so strong, why are they lowered it 20? They lowered it 0.5% in September, and now they're lowering it another 25%. That's 0.75%. That's almost a full percent. They've dropped it. Doesn't sound like a good economy to me. While the data released this week will do a little to sway voters, decision at this point, it does present a uniquely opportune time to review the corundum that has dominated the electoral conversation surrounding the economy, and more specifically, the labor markets, said Andrew Flowers, chief economist at Appcast, a recruitment technology firm. The hard data released this week will likely be solid. The September report showed a labor market that regained its footing this week. Hold on a second. Lost my place. That regained its footing after months of wobbles. There you go. The best words. Perfect. The best reading. I'm awesome at it. But does not matter much anymore. The fact that will determine who will win the White House is that the vibes surrounding the job market are downright bad. Yeah, I'd say so. Here we got people saying, they just barely said stable economy, strong economy, looks good, economy's good, but yet they're lowering the rates. It said earlier that Americans are troubled by the inflation, and then here it even said the vibes surrounding the job market are bad. That doesn't sound like a good economy. Whoever's trying to feed you the fact that this is a good economy is just full of it. They're just feeding you lies, or they just have no idea what they're talking about. One of the two. They either have no idea, or I'm sure they have an idea. They're just feeding you a bunch of crap that trying to get you to believe that, oh yeah, the economy's good. Perfect. Joe Biden's giving us a wonderful economy. I know the difference. My paychecks were better as far as spending. Once I got paid, my money went a lot further, paid my bills, still had money left over. Now it's like I get halfway through my bills and I'm out of money, and I haven't even paid groceries yet. Haven't even, it's like, well, bills just barely got paid. Now what do we do for groceries? Now how do I feed the kid? How do I feed the family? Our accounts are in the negative a lot, and it sucks because, we can't afford to do anything. That's why I'm doing this, trying to, help you guys out and maybe potentially make a few bucks, that's why, I show you this and stuff, so that if any little bit, every few pennies will help, if you click on that link and purchase one of those and help me out with a few pennies. Every teeny little bit helps, you know, and I'm trying to help you out with budget items, you know, so you're not out there, you know, spending a heck load of money when you could be spending it on something a little bit more important like food and, you know, stuff like that, water and, you know, the necessities to live on. You know, instead of going out and spending $200 on something like this, you click my link, buy this one for 100, and there you go. You know, it may not even be 100. I think it was like $80. You know, close, but $80. Whereas where the I think it was the Bushnell one was like 200. The Vortex was 180. This was $80, and it's probably just as good. And if not, it works. I've tried it. It works just fine. It's pretty accurate. It's probably every bit of quality. And that's why I'm trying to help you with budget stuff because of the economy. And I buy the budget stuff. And, you know, if I can save you a little bit of money and you can help me with a few pennies, every little bit helps, you know, with the economy. You know, like I said, I don't know where they're telling you that the economy's good, but economy's not good to me. It's, you know, like I said, sample size of one, but I'm sure I speak for many of you. The economy is horrible lately. Some people are trying to convince you that it's not, but, you know, believe what you want, but, you know, like I said, make sure you vote because voting is important, you know, but vote for who you think is best. Like I said, I'm not going to try and tell you who to vote for, but I know who I'm voting for. I know who you should vote for, but I'm not trying to tell you who to vote for. Pick your topics and vote on that. You know, what's most important to you. You know, if it's the border, open borders, closed borders, you know, vote for what you think is best. If it's gun control, gun rights, if it's abortion, if it's pro-abortion, vote for what you think is best. Vote for what matters to you, not, well, I'm voting for this person because I don't like that other person, or I'm only voting for this person because I hate that person. Don't vote that way. If you're going to do that, you may as well not even vote for, you know, if you're going to vote, you shouldn't even vote if that's how you're going to vote. Anyway, last one is the House Oversight ramps demands for White House to release accurate Biden garbage transcripts. I don't know if you've heard about that, but he pretty much called all of Trump supporters garbage. You know, and it was kind of a retaliation to one of the Trump guys at a Trump rally was talking, and he said something about a floating island of garbage, and he said, "Oh wait, that's Puerto Rico." Yeah, that's not cool. But then Biden comes back and says that the only floating garbage is all Trump supporters. So if you're a Trump supporter, you're garbage. You know, you're deplorable. That's what Hillary Clinton called you, and now you're garbage. You know, if you're a Trump supporter, you're garbage. That's how Biden feels about you. But anyway, a little bit about that. The House Oversight Committee is applying pressure on the White House to release the accurate transcripts after they allegedly altered President Biden's remarks after he called Trump supporters garbage. They want the accurate because they changed it. They changed the wording on it so that they could, you know, so he didn't look bad. But House Republican Conference Chair Elise Stenfink, again, not good with names. Some of them weird spelled last names, and I'm not great with. You'll have to bear with me. Republican of New York, and Oversight Chair James Comer, Republican Kentucky, sent a letter to the White House counsel's office Friday demanding they preserve all documents related to the transcript. To date, the White House has not issued a corrected transcript, and the false transcripts remain on the White House website, they wrote. The top members condemned the White House's alterations of the official transcript, writing that the stenography office cannot simply rewrite the president's rhetoric. Sure they can. Pretty easy. You just go into the documents and you change a few things. Pretty simple. In this case, it appears the White House is doing so to safeguard Vice President Harris's campaign, they wrote. Stefanik, whatever that name is. Sorry, I'm butchering your name, whoever you are, if you're even watching, and Comer referred to an AP report which cited an internal email from the head of the stenographer's office that noted that the press office conferred with the president to change the transcript. The shocking comment came from Biden's remarks to Latino activists regarding comedian Tony Hinchcliffe, again, not good with names, comments at a Trump rally. Hinchcliffe referred to Puerto Rico as a floating island of garbage. I don't know if you saw that, but he was like, there may as well be a floating pile of garbage out in the ocean. And they said, oh, wait, there is. That's Puerto Rico. I don't know if that was his exact words, but he's a comedian trying to be funny. I get it. That was kind of rude because, I know some Puerto Ricans and they're not that bad. It's not like, but whatever. I mean, he's a joke comedian trying to tell jokes, and I get it, but yeah, it wasn't very good look for him, and it kind of made Trump look bad and whatever. But then Biden comes out and just calls his supporters the garbage. But anyway, Biden, according to the transcript prepared by the official White House stenographers, told Latino group on Tuesday evening video call, the only garbage I see floating out there is his supporters. His demonstrations of Latinos is unconscionable, and it's un-American. The transcript released by the White House press office, however, rendered the quote with an apostrophe, reading the supporters with an apostrophe S rather than supporters with no apostrophe. The White House insisted that Biden was criticizing Hinchcliffe's comment and not the huge swath of Americans supporting the Trump presidency. They claim he was just criticizing the guy that did it, the guy that said it, and not all of Americans. But he did say supporters, his supporters. That's what it sounds like to me, what he would say. The letter from the GOP shared their concern with the latest reporting of the White House's apparent political decision to protect the Biden-Harris administration instead of following long-standing proper protocols. Of course, we're not going to do that. I don't care if it's protocol. They don't want to release anything that's going to make them look bad or that could potentially. If they didn't have a problem with it, they would have released it. Simple. If you got nothing to hide, here, take it. I got nothing to hide here. It's like when your spouse wants to look at your phone and you're like, no, you can't look at my phone. That means you got something to hide. If you're like, here, look at my phone, whatever. You got nothing to hide. And if it was the president and they asked for something and you had nothing to hide, you would gladly hand it over. You'd say, here you go. Here it is. It's called transparency. It's called I got nothing to hide. The transcript standard states that if there is a difference in interpretation, the press office may choose to withhold the transcript but cannot edit it independently. Our stenography office transcript released our distro, which includes the National Archives. It is now different than the version edited and released to the public by press office staff. Now, Stefanik and Comer are demanding the White House, one, produce all documents and internal communications regarding the President Biden's statement and the release of the accurate transcripts. Two, release the accurate version of the transcript the White House stenographers submitted to the NARA. And three, an immediately make available the White House Stenography Office's top supervisor for briefing to the Oversight Committee. Ooh. So the transcripts, I mean, like I said, if there was nothing to hide, they would gladly hand it over. I mean, regardless what you said, how you said it, what you meant by it, if there was nothing to hide on that transcript, you would gladly hand it over. Just like whatever. I mean, if you got nothing to hide, say, here you go. Look at it, read it. I got nothing to hide there. It is what it is. It says what it says, but anyway, that's the video for today. It's kind of gone longer than most of them, but like I said, Tuesday, I'm planning on being on live again for the election. Plan on going until, if all goes as planned and all goes well, I'm planning on being on until either if nobody shows up to watch, I'll, and I feel like killing it, I'll kill it, or if I have to go to work, or till somebody wins, or I'll play it by ear. But I'm planning like an all-nighter, be on for the duration of the election until we get a winner Tuesday, or until I have to go to work at 5:30 in the morning, if it's still going on by then. But anyway, I appreciate y'all. Love y'all. Again, do the YouTube stuff. Click the links below. Do the things. Hit subscribe. If you don't want to do the links, the donations, the buy, the whatever, just hit the subscribe button. Help me out. Like I said, I'm trying to hit that 6,000, and really means a lot to me that I even am closing in on 6,000. I figured I was never going to get that good, but it really means a lot to me. Just hit that subscribe, like the video, comment, do the stuff, and come see me on Tuesday. I'm gonna be on live, but you're not just gonna be looking at my face. I'm gonna be down in the, I got my son. He's good at computers. He's gonna help me figure out how to get my computer screen on the thing so we can all look at. So you're not just looking at my face all night. Who would want to do that? I'm surprised somebody wanted to look at it for almost an hour. But join me Tuesday. We're gonna be on live. So anyway. Again, YouTube stuff, click, like, subscribe, comment, share. The YouTube stuff. I appreciate all of you. And I'll see you in the next one.